In our top story for this hour, former public protector Madonsela says the terms of reference for the commission probing the state capture allegations are too broad. Speaking to ANN7, Madonsela says some of the terms are too broad, which will make Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo's task difficult. She argues all government-related corruption cannot be investigated within a given period of 6 months. The terms of reference for the State Capture Judicial Commission were released on Thursday. The South African Federation of Trade Unions believes the state capture inquiry should include the role of big business, but has successfully perhaps lobbied the ruling party to abandon the racial demands of the Freedom Charter. In response to the release of the state capture terms of reference, SAFTU says the state no longer serves the interests of broader society, but the narrow interests of the multi-billionaire class. The terms of reference for the State Capture Judicial Commission were released yesterday. The commission, chaired by Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo, has begun its work in earnest.
The main concern is that the covers virtually everything that can be classified as corruption, and a state that has just more than 1,000 municipalities alone, and then you have parastatals, government, etc. If you're saying you want to cover all forms of corruption, it could take a lifetime to do that. But having said that, I'm aware that a very senior judge has been appointed, a judge of the Constitutional Court, and the Constitutional Court takes a purposive interpretation to words, and I would like to believe that the Deputy Chief Justice is going to interpret the wording in the light of the Public Protector report, the North Gauteng judgment, and the general intentions of the Commission. I'm not saying they shouldn't be investigated, ma'am. If, for example, I said to somebody, go and investigate the killings at the Cleveland's hostel, there's more than 100 people that have been killed at Cleveland's hostel, and the Commission should only look at Cleveland. It would not be suggesting that nobody should investigate killings in the rest of the country. It would be there's an urgent matter, people are being killed at Cleveland, and you want an answer to that. For example, as a public protector, I did just that. I went into Cleveland and investigated. So it's not suggesting that the rest is immaterial or minor. It is, the Commission has a purpose, and it's been given a timeline of 6 months with the understanding that it has a specific purpose.
Meanwhile, other commentators are calling for the terms of reference to be expanded further. The South African Federation of Trade Unions says the Judicial Commission should include the role of big business that has successfully lobbied the ANC to abandon the racial demands of the Freedom Charter.
No, we broadly welcome the terms of reference because our first priority must be to deal with those who are directly implicated in very specific acts of criminal activity, corruption, money laundering, whatever. But at the same time, we do caution that we shouldn't make the mistake of thinking that corruption is simply confined to the Gupta family, President Zuma, and a small coterie of cronies. We believe that it's just a particularly blatant example of something which is much, much wider. And it's become clear, even in the past few months, that more and more companies, some of them quite big, multinational companies, are involved in these particular cases. McKinsey, KPMG, Bell Pottinger. And we believe that there may well be more.
South Africa is at a time whereby, we are faced with so many of the challenges that have actually made the role of the state almost impossible. You have to understand that corruption at the level that we are talking about within the South African context is not petty crimes and corruptions that people commit on a daily basis. This is gross level of corruption whereby billions of rand goes missing in the state, billions of rand gets stolen out of the state, and billions of rand gets facilitated and solicited towards entities that few people benefit from, particularly white monopoly capital companies that are sitting with major capital who have amounts of lawyers as well as chartered accountants and people who are sophisticated in hiding the criminal activities that corporate South Africa continues to commit on a daily basis.
The big question now is, will the Commission cover the following? Massive financial irregularities uncovered in the 4.3 billion IFMS project. Gross mismanagement in Treasury's 25 million payment to SIPS. 2 forensic reports question the legality of 1.6 billion AAR contract. 705 million rand irregular payment to Rishabile Aviation and Protection Propriety Limited. Exxaro paid billions despite no coal being supplied to Medupi plant. The PIC lost billions in sign-off shares, failed to oversee accounting irregularities. A list of unlisted investments shows mostly laggard investments.